Hey guys, Greg here.
John here.
Just moved into a new place. Now it's time to play catch up on some videos here. Oh, yeah. And one thing that's I haven't commented on this whole week, how Ben Affleck left the Batman, and now Matt Reeves was in talks, but then as of today,
just directing, right?
Yeah.
I didn't miss the thing where he just quit the project entirely.
Oh yeah, Ben Affleck left entirely.
What?
No, no. There was a rumor going around that Ben Affleck was gonna leave. Like he's trying to, but I don't believe that.
He just needed to leave one meeting to go to another.
Yeah, people were like, he's trying to get out of the whole.
He's trying to leave WB. He's like, no, I just have to get across town.
And Matt Reeves was the top contender, and they were going to negotiations, but Matt Reeves ultimately decided not to do it. Mm-hmm. No one really knows why. Visual effects, he's still working on post for War of the Planet of the Apes, so it makes sense that he wouldn't want to be that guy who's like, oh, now I gotta half-ass this movie to work on the Batman.
Yeah, work on one giant thing at a time.
And Matt Reeves would have been a cool choice, but we thought we'd take this video today to give a couple suggestions of our own.
Honestly, I think Matt Reeves would have been a fine choice. He doesn't have a distinct visual flair to me where I'm like, Matt Reeves' voice is what this movie needs. And I think Batman, you should get somebody with a more distinct voice, not just someone who's going to turn out a pretty good blockbuster.
Wait, before we move on to our choices, Matt Reeves is an amazing director.
He can direct, but he's not distinct to me that way. I don't think of Matt Reeves' style. I just think of Planet of the Apes, or I just think of Cloverfield.
I don't feel like we need a specific director style to go along with this. That's what's great about Matt Reeves is he has a variety of styles. Like you see a film like Cloverfield, which was awesome, and then you see like Dawn of the Planet of the Apes, which was a sequel to an already built-in franchise. And he really made it his own in one of the best Planet of the Apes films.
Yeah, I'm not saying he's a bad director by any stretch. For whatever reason, there's something that's not...
What I will give you was it didn't excite me when I heard that.
Yeah,
I'll give you that.
I'm sure Matt Reeves would do a good job. That's not what I'm saying. Like, I think he would turn out a good movie with some nice flourishes, but he doesn't go, oh, shit, yeah. Like, he just sounds like a sensible choice.
I'll give you that. I think he's a great director, but it wasn't like when I heard Matt Reeves, I was like... That's the one.
That's the guy. Like, he's got this.
So anyway, we'll give our thoughts on who we think could be a great director for the Batman. I have a couple of choices. I have two people who I think would be very, very good choices. Okay. My first one's a little bit more obvious. One that I think a lot of people have suggested, and he was supposed to do Man of Steel Part 2. That's George Reeves.
George Miller.
God damn it, I need my caffeine.
George Reeves played Superman.
Every video today is me going, I need my caffeine, I can't remember anything. George Miller, did all the Mad Max films, Mad Max Fury Road. I'm not super familiar with George Miller's work outside of Mad Max.
Dude, Babe 2, Big City,
Happy Feet. Yeah. He brought something unique to the Mad Max world, and then he comes back like decades later with Fury Road and brought back whole new visceral kind of look and style with amazing action set pieces, and he's all about practical. I feel like George Miller, he would do a really good job, and I feel like bringing, especially when thinking not just about Batman, but about whatever other villains there are, bringing kind of a craziness to the Gotham world. Like, I feel like he could bring Gotham to life.
Yeah, and I think George Miller could balance the things that you want out of this movie and avoid something like a BVS debacle. Like, he could bring the cool, gritty, serious stuff that you want. He can do a lot, at least as far as the Mad Max movies show us, with maybe not as much dialogue and a lot of body language. Yeah. There's a lot in his repertoire that he could use.
And he's good at working with like kind of creepy characters. Just a different kind of vibe overall. I feel like he could bring Gotham to life in a brand new way.
Definitely. And he can do a world, he can do stunts, he can do action, like he can do everything. I think it's a great show.
Because Batman's already defined as like how he's been defined in BVS and what we're seeing in Justice League and stuff. Yeah, we'll see a different side of Batman in the solo film, but in terms of building the whole world of Gotham and the villains, the rogue gallery, George Miller I think would be a great choice. Do you have a director in mind who you think would be a good choice?
I kind of had a hard time with this because it's really hard to think of like you need to make the right choice, I feel like, for Batman. I don't have like I just wrote down a couple names, basically. I know a lot of people have dropped Darren Aronofsky's name over the years, and while I don't necessarily want to see him go do a big DCEU movie, I think he could do it because he's good at making those movies about people who are unhealthily obsessed with the driving force of their life, and that's something you can apply to Batman. He's got a knack for strange and creepy imagery also, and he's done big budget before.
Well, I feel like the best Batman story. Like, my favorite Batman film is The Dark Knight, but the best Batman story where I feel like I really got to know Batman was Batman Begins. A lot of it was inspired by Batman Year One, and Darren Aronofsky, he was trying to do a Batman Year One movie for quite a while.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah, before like they redid it with Nolan films and stuff. He was trying to do a Batman Year One movie, and he was even supposed to do the Wolverine movie that James Mangold took over eventually.
If he could come in and fucking right the ship for DC, that would be cool.
Yeah, I'm not sure Darren Aronofsky would agree to do it because the reason he left Wolverine was because he wanted to spend time with his family, and he saw that doing a movie on this caliber would take away from his family for like a year.
Never.
Yeah, so
which makes you wonder how long Noah took. Because that thing was no small undertaking.
But I think Darren Aronofsky could bring great character to life. I feel like he could bring that. He's great at exploring dark themes and characters. They're so dark.
Yeah, you kind of watch people deteriorate. Like there are elements of body horror, and they're very sort of uncomfortable. And there is always that element of obsession. Like all of his movies have an obsession thing.
And I feel like Batman, you're talking about the deterioration. One thing that's always fascinated me in terms of the Batman mytho is how like the villains and people, and like Batman Begins, like even hints at it where the world kind of views Batman like, oh, he's this monster, he's this human bat, he's a ghost. And I feel like he could bring the monster out of Bruce Wayne. You know?
And he could also bring the debate out of Bruce Wayne, because that's a dark life that he lives in. We see different balances of Bruce Wayne versus Batman in these movies. His life as Batman has got to be a challenging thing, and with as many things as we complain about as fans now, like, I feel like you could address a lot of those things in an interesting way, and still get all your candy, you know, still have your cool villains and your cool fights and all that, you know, your tie-ins.
My other choice would be Gareth Evans, who did the Raid films, because
cool.
I mean, think of it like this: Batman Begins and The Dark Knight were directed by the same director, and a lot of people kind of view the Raid 1 and 2 in the same formula of The Dark Knight, of how that went. Like, the first one was really fun and really cool and awesome, and brought, like, Batman Begins brought Batman to a new caliber, and the Raid brought action films to a new caliber, and then Dark Knight comes along, and that's a crime saga, and then in the Raid 2, it's a crime saga, you know?
Yeah.
So I feel like this guy has proven that he can adapt to doing more than just cool action scenes. He can deliver great, intense, emotional scenes and character and suspense. And on top of that, when I saw the fight scene that everyone raved about in BVS, like one of the few moments that are like objectively good in BVS, that fight kind of reminded me a little bit of Raid style. And I think that was something, I think I might have heard that somewhere where that was a source of inspiration for the kind of fighting. I feel like, okay, if the one thing they got right was Batman fighting and his action style, why not get, you know, Gareth Evans to come in and help out with enhancing the action experience more? Because right now, what DC really needs is a great film, yes. But if they can't get a great film, at least get a solid, like, everyone thinks it's a good film overall. And I feel like Gareth Evans can do that by really capitalizing on like the awesome action sequences in terms of the martial arts fighting and stuff, because the villain that they wrote was Deathstroke, and Deathstroke is a martial artist. Okay. So if you're gonna have Batman and Deathstroke going toe to toe, like, Gareth Evans to me is the ultimate choice. See, if it was like the Joker and Batman, I'd be like, George Miller, do that one. Yeah. But if it's like Deathstroke and Batman, I'm like, cool. Do Gareth Evans.
I agree with that actually. You sold me a bit on that. See, I came up with nobody just came to mind when I thought of this, and I came up with a few list of potential ones. One that stood out to me more and more as I thought about it was Dan Trachtenberg, who did 10 Cloverfield Lane. Because, like, that movie, and it might be a weird call, but I'm feeling like you're doing a new Batman movie. This guy, at least with 10 Cloverfield Lane, that is his, to my understanding, I believe his first feature-length film, so that's a concern. But that movie has both, like, this sort of dready, taut character stuff, and when it finally gets to the sci-fi, there's some, you know, sci-fi action-y stuff, too. And I think that, if you want to get somebody new, because I thought of, like, a David Fincher Batman movie would be cool, I just don't think it'll ever happen. You know, like, it's unrealistic. Or, like, I thought even a Wachowski action movie could be, or a Batman movie could be a cool thing. But this guy, if maybe they don't want to throw down on quite a cloudy director who's gonna be like, I get a say in all this, you know, and also who might bring some vigor. I thought Dan Trachtenberg might be a good idea. Also, the Spierig brothers, the guy who did Daybreakers, I think that could be cool. Because that's got a Gotham-y, just after midnight vibe anyhow in that movie. And they can handle sci-fi, they can handle action, they can handle humor.
True.
Oh, I know who's the last one I thought about who could be a good idea was Brad Bird.
Really?
I think maybe because he's done big action, he's done like Mission Impossible, and maybe
those are so light.
Yeah, well, maybe this would be a good chance for him to do something a bit darker because he comes out of animation. You know, he's got to be familiar with comics and stuff like that, and the cartoons to draw from.
I feel like he'd be good for like Wonder Woman or a Green Lantern. I don't know about Batman though.
Yeah, he's not the superhero
Yeah.
I would go automatically yes,
Yeah.
but his name did come to mind, and it didn't float out of my mind in a sort of like that's dumb kind of way. It was like, maybe. Like, it would be a question mark for sure. I would be interested in seeing that.
I feel like he would need to do like a superhero. Because Batman at the end of the day is human. He's still a superhero, but he's a human being. I feel like he would need to take on like, I think if anything, he could do a great Superman movie.
That's
All
right.
I think if anything, Brad Bird could do that. You know?
Zack Snyder should have done Batman, and Brad Bird should have done Superman. Even with a more like character-driven Superman, that guy's your guy.
But yeah, those are our choices for. So I guess if we had our like top 3 choices, it seems like it would go George Miller, Darren Aronofsky, or Gareth Evans.
Yeah,
I feel like those would be our top 3 choices. What are your guys' people you wouldn't mind seeing direct the Batman films? And if DC is watching this, pay attention to the comments. Subscribe to The Real Rejects. John's Reasons to Jerry on Twitter and Instagram. As a social media manager of Blumhouse and The Real Rejects.
that's right.
And shout out to George Clooney, who has not had a hit since Batman.
Since Batnips.
Sucks, his career's just gone downhill.
Yeah, what's he done lately?
He hasn't done any, but Joel Schumacher's catapulted.
Oh, dude, especially after
Weird.
number 23, like, he's been on
Weird.
fire.
Isn't that weird how George just went down?
Yeah, it's just Schumacher time every
Schumacher
time.
Every time I hear Schumacher, they're like, yeah.